So today I want to talk about, in one respect we could call it true and false spirituality. In another respect we could just say it's, sort of like taking spirituality to the next level. So in a way we could say that there's groups of people on earth, obviously. There's humanity. And no matter where you think you are in race, gender, and whatever else, that's not what's important. Spiritually, we could say that all the human race divides into just a few groups. There are those you could say are unbelievers, atheists, agnostic, whatever they happen to be, and just not into spirituality. Then there are those who are into spirituality. Now, that sort of splits into two groups. Those that are into spirituality, there's religious people, and then there's spiritual path people. Each thinking that they're completely right and the other's wrong. But they're both in the same group, which they don't realize. They're like twins. They're identical twins. They just sound different. But they're the same. Religion and those who think they're on the spiritual path. Now, those who think they're on the spiritual path are most of the people even watching a program like this. Kind of open-minded, spiritual, new agey, yoga practitioners and all that. It's very cool. I always say there's an easy way and a hard way to waking up. But in fact, there's three. There's the easy way, there's the hard way, the easier, and then the easy way. I simplify and say the easy way and the hard way, but really, the hard way are those awaiting the christening of the Holy 2x4. That's just like non-believers. They don't believe in anything. It's all just a joke. They think it's silly, and they will have their awakening in some way. Then there's the easier way, which are the people, maybe religious, they believe in something, they do believe in prayer and so on. And even more liberal religious people, the spiritual people. And in the illusion of this world, it's kind of cool that there is a progression from non-believing to religion to spirituality. Spirituality and religion being part of the same second group. There's an easy way, though, on the spiritual path, or in life's path. Hard way, easier, and then the easy way. The difference between the easier way and the easy way. Easier way is still us trying to control it. I used to be doing things the hard way, but now I'm into this and I'm into that and I do this and I do that. Kind of cool, but I'm still in charge. And people on the spiritual path don't realize that they're still secretly trying to control. The third group, the easy way, is when you learn to let God do these things through you. Like Osho would say, God, I'm like a flute and God plays through me. Whether you call it, this teacher, that teacher, this teaching, that teaching, it's the ones that remind you to come back to God. Spirituality almost makes us think. In religion, they think that their religion is God. So in spirituality, we're like, oh, God, that's so old school, so controlling. And yet, you think you're God. Because most people on the spiritual path still try to control what's happening and not realize it. We still think, oh, well, if I just do a little of this or that, that'll fix that in health, which is normal thinking. If we think to ourselves, Mercury's going retrograde today. I'm going to not call anybody for 3 weeks, and then that'll neutralize that. It's still you trying to manage in this world. Now, mind you, it's better than being a victim of it. You're stepping up, saying, I'm going to take responsibility for my life. But at some point, you go from being out of control, victim, being in control, control freak, to letting go of control and being guided. That is a minority. Huge, huge minority. The numbers of people doing that third group are in the thousands on this planet. Not tens of thousands, thousands. It's not that many. A lot of us are on the verge of it. But to truly cross the line and get to that group, it means learning to say things that second group of spiritual people don't want to do. They don't want to say words like God or Jesus or Christ. Oh, that's old school. I don't really use the Jesus word. That's old school. See, and that's secretly an attempt to not go to the third group. which is spiritually awake. Truly, truly becoming awakened. You can't take the final step on your own, A Course in Miracles says. You can only become so spiritual, and at some point, it's like up, 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 and at some point, you can't go any further on your own. You have to say, I don't know, and let Spirit come and pick you up. No, I am Spirit. I'm affirming now that I am picked up, and I am home, and I am one with all beings. Ow, damn mosquito. You're not. You still leave footprints in the mud when you walk through, in the snow when you walk. You're still here. You're not home. You cannot ascend yourself. Oh, haven't you heard? There's a special powder you can buy. You know, and then you ascend. Really? Leave me your shoes, You won't be needing them, I guess. Guys, it's ego arrogance secretly disguising itself as spiritual prowess, spiritual, magnificence. I know all the cool things. I wear all the right colors. I know all the right mantras. But you're still, the difference between the easier way and the easy way is that in the easier way of waking up, you're still doing something. Chanting, praying, whatever. You're still doing something. At some point, to get to the third group, there's a point of, I don't know. Show me, guide me. Come back to God. Come back because the last shall be first. Come back to I don't know, show me. Say those naughty words. Holy Spirit, Divine Mother, God, Jesus, Christ. They're all representatives of the divine. Don't just channel your deceased grandmother. Ask to be the presence of the Holy Spirit embodied. And don't just channel beings. Become whatever you channel, unless it's freaky. Then say goodbye to it. Why channel something if it's freaky, scary, confusing? Only the best, right here and now for me. Only God. Choose God. Choose Spirit. Choose the Holy Spirit. There are people in the spirituality community, because it's false spirituality, better than not believing in anything. I get that. But in the false spirituality community, guys, they're all over the place. They walk around, oh, I don't wear crosses because that's old school, and I don't tell you to wear a cross. Jesus doesn't wear them, so don't wear them. But I'm not saying don't wear them. The crucifix. The cross is a sacred symbol, but I don't need a crucified Jesus on the cross. So, I personally would think twice about it. He does. So, he's like, no, been there, done that. So, it wasn't fun the first time. I don't know. Okay, so we look at this and say, well, what do I do here? These people say, I'm not into the Jesus thing. Well, what are you into? Oh, well, I just believe in being. It's so brilliant, because that means I'm being non-committal. I can just hang out believing in everything. Because you can tell the second group. The second group is starting with, the first half of the second group is religious people. The second half of the second group are the spiritual people. And you know them because they're going to say, I honor all paths. And I know this is some of us here, so no worries. I honor all paths. And I don't really believe in listening to a teacher anymore or any particular teaching, because I'm just so open-minded. I know it sounds good. They also say things like, there's no destination. It's only the journey that matters. I love that, because you're right. For you, there is no destination. You're not getting anywhere. It's brilliant. And so it is. There's no destination, correct? Apparently, because you're not getting anywhere. You're just hanging out in spirituality. I honor all groups. No, you don't. Not truly. You just want to make it look that way. You walk around with your mala beads, but you don't follow the ways of Buddha. Oh, yes, I believe in Buddha because I believe in peace. You believe in your opinion of what peace is. Because Buddha also said, get up and move when there's something to get done. He also said, use your smile to bring people to God. He didn't say just hide away from your body. Whatever gifts you have, smile included, gift of speech, use them, but to bring people to God instead of hooking them to you. It's where that term hooker comes from. Someone, it is, someone that's using energy to hook someone in. But what politician isn't a hooker? Everybody's got an agenda and they're trying to hook somebody towards their thing. What religion isn't hooking? It's just we attach that term in one direction only, but really it's all the same. Stop hooking people. Instead, share and invite. By being. Not being worthless, by being the presence. So someone says, you always seem so happy. You can say, thank you. That means a lot to me. Because I'm not always, but I do my best. And they go, God, look at that honesty. And yet it works. What do? Prayer, forgiveness. Really? Well, I've tried forgiveness, and they ask questions and there's no perfect answer, but it's along these lines. You act casual about it. You don't preach. And you say, yeah, sometimes I have trouble forgiving too. But I do know this. Even times when I'm having trouble forgiving, there's a certain formula that works no matter what, which is, even if I don't want to forgive, I'm going to put the words out of my mouth that I forgive. Not because I'm lying to myself or fooling myself. I'm moving myself in the right direction because tomorrow I might be a few steps closer to it instead of hopelessness. So the folks, the mala beads and oh yeah, look how cool I am. I have a t-shirt, Om, the Om. Really? Oh, that's just so spiritual. Jeez, you probably don't even have to eat anymore because you have Om on your t-shirt. Do you have any idea what it means? Oh, well, it's a Sanskrit word. It means Om. And there's no history. There's no substance to what it means. Do you recite Om? Well, I have my own way of doing that. Something like that. And if they even do recite Om, what do you do when you do that? What are you chanting for? What are you asking for? What are you affirming when you say Om? Do they really, all the people, do they really understand it? It's just strange, the whole spiritual thing. They typically cannot say words like Jesus or Christ or Holy Spirit because they're Christian or they're thinking that they're religious terms, and they're not. They're God terms. God had them before religion did. We've got to watch, because when religion screws something up, it makes us feel disheartened and then we don't use them. But guess who won that fight? The ego sets us up, gets us to twist the use of words like Christ being Christianity, and it isn't. Jesus has so little to do with Christianity, it's not even funny. Christ consciousness cannot be contained in a religion. And even Buddha, and even Muhammad, and so on and so on. What became of a religion based supposedly on their words have very little to do with whatever they ever taught originally, even Buddha. Sutras and, tantras and mantras and all these different things, and lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, But I said Om when I said oh my. So all these things to worry about and recite, and yet nobody even remembers them anymore. You just have to sometimes just strip it down. Even if you're in your home and in your room, throw off your clothes too, symbolic. I don't know. Sometimes just do that. No more words or mantras. Here I am, and bow. Just bow, the forehead to the ground. I don't know. I don't have to, like you think, on your knees when you pray at your side of your bed. Oh, I remember. People don't go, yeah, I do that regularly. People go, I remember that, because you think that's what children do. I still do it once in a while, the right moment. There's moments, I think I was in my office the other day, and as soon as it hit me, I'm not going to question it. I have a couch in my office, kneel, forehead to the couch. Somebody could walk up and, postman or whatever, up to the door, look in and go, man, he's either nuts or he's fanatically religious. And it has nothing to do with any of that. It's a spiritual inspiration. It's not how I pray every day, and I don't pray every day on the couch like that. But follow. The moment of, right now I feel like standing with my arms extended to the sky in gratitude. Right now I'm in an I don't know. Whatever. But following spirit. To know and to trust something so beautiful. It's not old school to call on the Holy Spirit, to call on the Divine Mother. So you hear me talk about all these traditions, and a lot of people originally attracted to unity, some of you included, come because they go, it's amazing. He'll talk about Moses today, and he'll compare Moses and Buddha. Nobody usually ties them together. And then one other time, Jesus, and he'll talk about Jesus and his next door neighbor. Michael, so cool. It's so many things. And then what they do is sometimes fall in love with that level of spirituality that's very embracing. But listen carefully, because I don't stop there. I go to the next step too, which is back to God. It's not cool just to be able to cross-reference names, mantras, tantras, and this and that and the other people, teachers and whatever. That's just to sort of create substance for us to sit in and connect with. Underneath what I say, when I'm speaking, there's a spiritual presence. And I'm not boasting it. I give thanks to step into it. But there's a feeling, there's a presence. You'll hear me say consistently, God. Some of our songs that we play before we start the service. Listen to how spiritual they are. Even if they seem fun, playful songs. Spirit in the Sky, it has a spiritual something there. Earth, Wind, and Fire, Serpentine Fire, it still has a spiritual substance there. And you say, well, all spiritual centers play religious music. Yeah, stuff like, woe is me. Oh, what a wretch I am. Oh, Lord. It's very traditional, Amazing Grace, which I think is a very spiritual tune. But it's been twisted into a very shame-based tune. People standing around singing Amazing Grace. And they almost affirm, to save a wretch like me, because they're thinking that we're just worms, man. We are lowlifes. Instead of, like, they should change the words of Amazing Grace is, isn't grace amazing because it restores us to being gods and goddesses, rather than, I hope I get some of that grace because I am such a wretch. But I think it's a great song because it was written by a slave runner. And he came close to death and he realized what I'm doing is wrong. I think that's great. I can sing that song and not go, this is old school. I'll sing it. I think it's great because I'm singing a song that was written by a man who found his dark night of the soul and said, something we're doing is wrong. See, enslaving human beings. He still learned the hard way because it was a near-death experience. We're getting to the place where we can learn the easy way, which is I just know what's right, not just I need to be told what's wrong. I just start following what's right. And he could have done that. He could have said, no, I don't think I'll do that. Why? Because I like to do what's right, and that's not loving, so no. Instead of having to come to near death about what's wrong. You see what I'm saying there? So that's how we can learn to live in this world. Instead of everything having to blow up, literally and figuratively in our lives, to come to a place of saying, you know what? I'm just going to let the Holy Spirit, which is synonymous with the Divine Mother. The Holy Spirit might be my guide and my teacher, my healer, be all that I'm looking for. And I'll hang out with people. I won't say, well, I don't need a teacher. Hang out with a teacher that talks about that. I don't need a spiritual center or group. Hang out in groups that do that. And I don't need, this and that and the other. Attract friends and partners that believe along those same lines. Build that energy. Build that grist for the mill. Draw it in. Get stuff that creates substance in your life. Be careful not to stay in that second group going, I'm really spiritual. How much closer are you to God? Well, I just believe that God is everywhere. See, that's very casual. It's such a great disguise. Because in the casualness, no commitment. We're doing an online course right now on revelation of the divine self. And in there, it's great because we're translating all the weird, dark symbols into what they're really meant to be. And one of those, there's several I've already referenced without people even knowing it. But, just because they're archetypes. But, the idea that we've forgotten our first love, that's in there. That we have forgotten our first love. Back to God. Getting our priorities straight. There are recovering addicts that still feel the cravings and they still grinding their teeth over their addiction. And they're further on, closer to that third group of God connection than so-called spiritual people. Because they have humility. I'm not saying they're always humble, because it's egotistic to be an addict. They know that. It's self-serving. It's all about myself. I want what I want, whatever the addiction is, people or whatever. But they see it. They own it. To get to the third group, it's interesting because the other groups, there's a first group and two halves of the second group, but each of them is separate from one another. The non-believers, the believers. Pseudo-believers, but believers. And of those believers, half are religious and half are spiritual. But those groups are kind of separate. This third group is ironic because they're sort of made up of the other groups. Well, wait, how could you be made up of atheists? They're at the bottom, if I turn it this way. They're down here, atheists, non-believers, and then there's the religious people. They're just hopeless, shaming and blaming people all the time and trying to convert people to their religion so they can grow their religion and make more money. The judgments we can have on them. And spiritual, pseudo-spiritual people, they're all horizontal. You can be a non-believer or believer. You're still horizontal because you're not getting anywhere. You're still part of this world. The crossbar of a cross. This world and your beliefs are still crucifying you. To get ascended, you need the vertical part of the cross. Something that takes you to God. Well, I don't really know about that because I'm hanging out and I'm being. Yes, you are. You're just being part of the problem. No, I'm spiritual. You're the spiritual part of the problem. I'm religious. Yes, you're the religious part of the problem. I'm an atheist. You're the atheistic part of the... You're all still part of the cross piece. You want to get home. Everybody wants to get home. And what's cool is that even an atheist, not believing in God at all, let's say, agnostic, not sure, and the addict, wherever they are in any of those places, they're this close to God because if they just choose humility, they're home. They're in that third group that's going home rather than just hanging out. So the person that thinks they're the academic, the person that thinks that they're the religious, follower, the person that thinks they're kind of all cool, hang out spirituality, the arrogance in any one of them keeps you from spirit. The humility takes you home. So it isn't that I go from being atheistic to religious and then to spiritual and then I grow home. There's a little bit of truth to that. That's sort of an evolution, hopefully speaking. It looks like it's an evolution. I'm exposing today that they're all horizontal. That other works a little bit, but mostly everybody just make excuses to hang out horizontally, thinking they're more evolved than the other. The religious people think the spiritual people are all screwed up. Those New Agers. And the New Agers and the religious people, they look at the academics and the atheists and say, they're just caught up in intellectualism and they don't know the humility to surrender to God. They all still blame each other. The third group says everyone's welcome. But you cannot enter this group while still in control of everything. Just surrender. Surrender, find humility, let go, let God. And that's how we get there. It's kind of cool because if you think about it, it's a minority at this point on this planet. But only because people don't realize what I'm saying here. The religious people think they've got it. And the others, the academics or whatever, you can be academic and spiritual. I'm just saying, the intellectuals of the world, they think, oh, you poor souls. You just die and leave. You're just making something up. You're just doing this to, you're having just some sort of spiritual aspirin for the aches of your insides. You're going to die and you're going to be gone. You're making up a God so you don't feel so bad about it. Whoa, that's kind of harsh. But that's what they think. They think religious, spiritual people are morons. That's what they think. And so the other things, well, that's fine because you're going to hell. They're all in hell. They're all in hell because they're in their horizontal. All you're doing is changing your clothing. Look at me. I'm an atheist. Look at me. I'm religious. They're just clothing you put on. Everyone has to get to the same place. We've got to surrender and say, okay, I got it. God, be my teacher, my healer. Holy Spirit, let go of the fear of using the terms. Wear the mala beads. It's fine. It's fine. Wear the Buddhist bracelets, the New Age crystal. Wear all of it. Have a crystal ball on the desk of your, office. Do all the cool stuff, but not in replacement of a relationship with God. Let God come through you and your tarot cards. Let God come through you and your surgeries. Anything you experience. One thing is not better than another, like we think it is. Horizontally speaking, they're all the same. God. How do we get back to God? Just back to that humility. And it's the I don't know factor. So all of a sudden, I'm just an addict who says, I need to call upon you, God. I need help. I clearly don't know how to deal with my life. I tried to control my life, and I don't know how. Here I am. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, you're going to zip from that horizontal. You can be way out at the outermost portion of that cross piece of the cross. You're going to go right to the center and start moving upwards just because of a simple thing called humility. What we need is sincerity. When I say humility, I'm talking about simplicity, responsibility, honesty with oneself. I don't know. Here I am, and the last shall be first. So in my I don't know affirmation, I start to be filled with what does know. It's quite beautiful. But guys, please, be somebody that's willing to change the stuff of this world. Be willing to be one of the people that doesn't have that's afraid to say, you can change the word a little if you must. Holy Spirit, Divine Mother, God, just stay in the ballpark. And at the very least, know what you're talking about. Don't say, well, God is everywhere, so I don't like to use the word Christ because that's tradition, that's religious. No, it isn't. You're making an excuse to hide, as always. See, the humans that make excuses, they dress it up as spirituality, but it's just excuses again. And I love that the work we do here and the work that I do here with you folks, I love the feedback that I get online and in person here, that people say, God, this is, you're giving permission for me to come back to God or to Christ. Christ is a soul that remembered divinity. That's all. It's perfect. I say that's all. It's capital A, all. It's all. And it's okay. But I don't think you need to walk around town saying, well, guess what? I went to Unity of Sedona. I'm converted now, and I believe it's Christ for me. And you can do that, because if it's true for you, great. But I'm not saying you have to walk around doing that. Talk about God. Talk about God. Call it Holy Spirit or Divine Mother, but talk about God. If you have a lot of courage, then even go so far as to say Christ. But bring God back into your dialogues. Don't preach, but bring it back. Here I am. By the grace of God, here I go, right? By the grace of God. A person in Latin community, adios. See you later, adios. It means go with God. Start bringing God into your languaging. This particular language, Spanish, you can say adios and nobody blinks, but you're saying go with God. Why don't you just say it in English? Oh, then they're going to think I'm a weirdo. Really? It sounds like you need healing. Sounds like you need some healing. You have some issues around that. Around what? Being associated with God. You don't want to be seen too close. You know what that's called? It's betrayal and denial. The apostles who said, no, I don't know him. Hey, weren't you one of his followers? Nope. Jesus who? This is the guy who hours before said, I would never turn my back on you. I would never deny knowing you. And Jesus is like, Peter, I'm telling you, you're going to do this. No, I would not. Peter, 3 times you're going to do this. Not once, 3 times so that you can't deny that you did it. But I would never. And, look in the scriptures, you'll read. Because in the original Aramaic, Peter says, talk to the hand. No, he doesn't, but still. Or Jesus says, talk to the hand. No, but that's kind of what he says in our modern silly terminology. Peter, talk to the hand. You're lying to yourself. I would never. And then he does it. So watch, guys. There is no outside world. It's a reflection of the inside. So in the outside world, when you seem apprehensive about owning your beliefs in God, not just your beliefs in hanging out spiritually, let's all go down to, and have a circle. There's one happening down, near the Red Rocks tonight, Oh, we're just being. Oh, I feel the Red Rock energy. God dang, man. That's mental illness, man. That's mental illness. No, I'm exaggerating, but that whole thing, why are you doing that? Don't tell me about the actual mineral changing your life. The red rocks. What is the red rock? It's a mineral. So you're telling me, you, a god goddess in this universe, your life is being transformed from the densest of substances on this planet? No. How are you ever going to remember your divinity when you still think you need to sit on a red rock? They're not going to use this for ads for Sedona, right? And am I saying don't do it? No. I'm saying do it with God. Do everything with God. You sit on the red rocks and say, let me feel your presence. Let God in the red rock infuse you, not the rock. In a relationship, people can't actually make you feel complete like they say in the movies. You complete me? That's completely screwed up. But you don't complete, but you know what does? Seeing the divinity in you reminds me of my own. Thank you. Now we're both blissing out. It's what's in it. It's not the rock. It's what's in it. So can people go back and, in your circles, don't be too afraid, man, to say, we're having a circle, there's a sacred ceremony. If you're the conductor of those ceremonies, you don't have to use words I'm saying, but something along the lines. Let's call in the Divine Mother. Oh, you mean the Earth Mother. No, you're saying Earth Mother because you're afraid to say Divine Mother. The Earth Mother is just one particle of the Earth Mother. The whole universe is, or the Divine Mother. The whole universe is the Divine Mother. The earth is just one body of hers, one manifestation. Here's a cloth, she pushes her finger through and it becomes a planet. That's not her totally. That's one expression. So don't just try to hide behind Earth Mother, but if that's all you can do with your group, fine. You need to know when you say Earth Mother. You know in your intention, I mean the Divine Mother, and it'll intensify the energy and the quality of your experience. Is that making sense? In everything you do, the crystals you wear, it's not just the crystal. Call for the divine light in the crystal. Access the divine in all things. You could say it's the intent, but it's even greater than the intent behind things. All the things you do. Be with me and help me decide what clothes I'm going to wear today. Father, Mother, God, guide me, show me. Show me which people to meet, set them up for me. Which ones you want me to run into. What to say and not to say. Everything in my being to be guided. But no longer dress it up with the horizontal spirituality. That we just do another drum circle where we're not allowed to mention God because that's tradition. And we want to hang out and do the drum thing because it's so casual and open-minded looking. Embracing all traditions. You're lying. Because even the cultures of the past didn't do it the way you're doing it. They understood that underneath it, they're calling on Great Spirit. Oh, well, I don't mind. I'll use that term once again. Fine, use that term. But know what it means. Don't say that to avoid using the other. God. Great Spirit. God. Okay? Let's take a few centering breaths. Let's open our minds and hearts. First, we open our minds. What did we hear today? Is there something we don't like? Well, be careful it's not just ego resistance. But just have an open mind that there's even possibility of any ego resistance. Don't call it right or wrong. Let's just set it aside if there is such. And with our open minds, let's listen more deeply to what we were really hearing today. Back to God. Back to God. Can I do that? Am I courageous enough? Back to God. You might have been more spiritual when you were 3, if at that time you were willing to talk to God. To believe in God from your heart instead of the conjurings of the head. I am apologizing, forever letting my head rule my soul, forever letting myself think that I could know best or figure out what's best for me. I choose to surrender all beliefs that I know best. I may have learned to speak louder, seem more confident, but the more I did, the smaller I became without realizing it. So I'm surrendering into the great I don't know. Father, Mother, God, I don't know. And I mean that in a glorious way. It means that this consciousness that God is so huge, I don't know how to contain it. And I'm going to stop trying. I tried to contain it in my vernacular, my structure of thought, my little boxes to put this in, but it can't be contained. It's intimidating to my ego to imagine that I deserve this level of goodness. But today, I'm going to risk it. And we let all the veils fall apart. Let them all just part ways and fall into the earth. Here I am. No longer false gods of my head, but I call upon you, Father, Mother, God, the absolute, the creator of all that is real, all that is love. Creator of only that which is worthy of me. I choose only that which is truly good. Fill me with your presence. I don't settle anymore for a person, place, thing to try to fill me, even an opinion. No, instead, God is. And just imagine the light of God, the glorious light of God pouring into your own heart, bringing you a form of healthy, true conversion to having your own relationship with God. Having your own relationship with God. How perfect it is. This holy breath, this Holy Spirit. It's in your hands, brother that became Christ. It's in your hands, Divine Mother, Holy Shekinah, Holy Spirit. Shine your glorious light into my heart and soul. Quicken me, awaken me to a new path of oneness with God. There is a goal. The journey is what's unreal. It's an illusion. I'll do the journey, but I don't make that my emphasis. It just is. The goal in God is what I choose today. Feel that presence. And when the children of God choose to remember their oneness with God, miracles have to happen. So miracles start to fill us, surround us, be in us, be through us. Breathe into that and believe in it. Breathe in a deep breath, believing I'm being filled with the presence of God, and then a nice calm exhale. Hear the sound of that exhale. Again, in, deep breath, anchoring the presence of God, love, exhale. Once more, in the presence of God, no settling, and on the exhale, the presence. Good. We're sharing it with the room through an exhale. Now, in, and on the exhale, a slight hum-like sound that represents the feeling. Ooh, good, good, good. The next time it'll be louder and we'll continue it. Even if you have to take breaths and keep doing it, we're now going to simply go into a chant. Just an Om kind of a sound. Let it be the natural sounds. In. Good. Good. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Don't lose sight of what you're centered in. The sound, like a rock, is worthless if you don't fill it with spirit. Fill that sound. Fill it with God's presence. Chant it to the world. Good. Send it to all dimensions, all the reaches of the universe, outermost reaches, all people throughout all time. People that have struggled with abuses, slaveries, hurts, confusions. Send them this sound. Send them this love. The presence of God. The perfect sound representing the presence of God. Ooh, open your mouths. Let the sound come out more. Almost done. Keep going. Keep going. Hearts opening. Almost. A little louder. To every bird, every creature, the sound of God. And rest. Imagine a vibrating. Imagine that the earth herself is reaching up to draw energy from this room and infuse herself with that vibration. Imagine that it brings a higher energy to the rocks, the red rocks, the trees, the creatures in the streams. Everything starts to vibrate more. It's God, not the stream, the fish, the rock. The God frequency in all things makes them sacred and holy. And to all people who have ever made this their priority, there are atheists that have reached out not knowing what to reach for. They were closer than those who think they know. Just because the sincerity gets you there faster and closer. There are people in religion, people that are in spirituality, and people that are non-believers that are some of what makes up that third group. Just because there's a part of them saying, I don't know, help me. And so it is.